Hello everyone and welcome to today's practice. We're going to start seated on the ground. So I have a big pillow here. It's dark, maybe you can't see it. It's a big pillow, it's pretty thick, dense. Maybe if you have a yoga bolster, you could use that. But if you are just starting out, you don't have any yoga props, don't worry. You could sit on two bed pillows, one on top of the other, or you could also use a couch cushion. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to come to sit on it, and you can come to sit any way you like. So I'm coming down to the ground, sitting. You can sit with your legs to the side, knees together. You could sit cross-legged. You could sit with your feet together, knees out to the side. This is how I like to sit because I have a belly, so it leaves me space for my body. If this feels hard on your legs, like it feels like too much pressure and your hips are being pulled too much to the ground, you could take some small pillows or a yoga block, depending on what you have, and put them underneath your knees. And that will give them some support, and it also reduces the amount of space between your leg and the ground, and therefore less space for gravity to pull your leg down. So you have that option for you. However you're sitting, let's think about sitting tall, maybe thinking like there's a magnet or something on the top of your head that's pulling your head up. But it's not pulling your chin up. Your chin is staying parallel with the ground. It's just pulling the top of your head up. And we'll breathe. We'll take a few breaths here. Know that whatever I offer is a suggestion. You can take it or leave it. That includes the breath. Maybe you want to take one hand, bring it down towards the ground. You could touch the ground. If you have short arms, you can bring them to a yoga block or a pillow. And then raise the other hand up over top. Option to look up. We'll take a few breaths here. And then we can lower that hand down, and we can do the same thing on the other side. Lowering that hand down, raising the opposite one up, option to look up, and then lower that back down. Maybe we want to take a little bit of a twist here. We could take one hand, bring it to the opposite leg or the opposite body, and then take opposite side of the body, and then take the other hand, bringing it behind you. And maybe you want to look over that back shoulder. Breathing while you're here. Know that depending on where you put the hand in the back, the more stretch you'll have. So if you have your hand sort of out to the side of your body, you're going to have less of a twist. If you bring it to the middle of your back behind you and look back, you'll have more of a twist. So you decide sort of what range of motion you want here. And then we'll come back, do the same thing on the opposite side, bringing the opposite arm forward, the other one back. Breathing. And then choosing where you want that hand placement. Then coming back to center. Maybe we want to wiggle out our arms, our shoulders, our fingers. We could bring our hands up in front, like don't walk signs. And then think about your pinky fingers. Bring your pinky fingers down towards the ground. So we're rotating our hands outwards. And then thinking about bringing our thumbs towards the ground. So we're bringing them inwards. Alternating. Doing a few of these, and then maybe you want to spread your fingers really wide and make fists, and spread them really wide and make fists. Alternating this way. And then once our hands are back up in our stop walking signs, maybe we want to lower them down towards the ground and then flop them back up again. Doing a few of these, and then we could do some wrist circles if you're doing these, make sure you go both ways, doing a few each way, and then we can shake that out. Take a few breaths here. Maybe you want to take one leg, bring it out towards the side. We could bring the other foot in towards the body. And then we have the option here of raising up our hands towards the sky. We can turn facing over that long leg and fold forward, hinging down. Bring your hands down to our legs. And we don't have to touch our toes. We can have our hands anywhere on the leg. We're likely still going to feel some sensation in the opposite side of the back, regardless of where our hands are here. We'll take a few breaths. And then we'll slowly rise up. And we can bring that other leg out. So now our legs are in a big V shape. I've got mine fairly wide so that I have room for my body. But you can have them more narrow. You can have them even wider. You choose what feels right for you. And then we're going to slowly hinge forward at our hips. Before we do that, I'm going to raise up my arms. And then coming forward with the hips, option to lower our hands, move our bellies between our legs, and then bring our hands down to the floor. And you can look down and breathe here. What do you feel in the back of your legs? Anything? I feel fire. So maybe you feel something like that too. Breathing. Maybe you want to point your toes and then flex them and then point them and then flex them and see how that feels. Does it change what you feel? And then we can slowly start to sit back up, sitting nice and tall. Maybe we want to plant our feet on the mat, bending our knees up towards the sky. Option to bring our hands in between our legs and thinking about your elbows, pushing them into your legs. And that's going to open up your hip quite a bit. And we'll breathe here. Noticing how this feels for you. We can bring our legs out straight in front of us, toes up towards the ceiling. Maybe you want to maneuver yourself a little bit. I like to lift up my belly, put it on top of my legs. Option to keep your hands here on the tops of your thighs or bring them behind you with your fingers facing forward out in front of you. That might bring your shoulder blades back together. Breathing here, seeing how this feels for you. Maybe you want to point your toes here. Continuing to breathe. Maybe you want to take your toes, lower your feet down towards the ground, and then bring them back in. We're rotating our legs here, rotating them open and then close. Continuing to breathe. And then we can bring our legs back in, sitting again however you want. If cross-legged is not for you, you don't have to sit cross-legged. We'll take a few breaths. And now maybe we want to raise our hands up towards the sky again. And we're going to hinge forward at the hips, just like we did when our legs were out in that V. Lowering our body down towards the ground. Bring our hands out in front. And breathing. Noticing how is this different? Does it feel different than when you had your legs out in that V shape? And then we'll slowly come back up, slowly bringing our bodies back up. We'll take a few breaths. Maybe we want to bring our shoulder blades back together. Our chest comes out in front. Maybe your chin goes up to the sky. Taking a breath. And then we can alternate. Bring our chin down to our chest, rounding our shoulders, rounding our back. Taking a breath here. And then we'll come back to a neutral position. Maybe we want to bring our hands to our belly. We can think about one thing that we're grateful for in our bodies today. And thank you so much for doing this practice. Maybe you want to send some gratitude to yourself. And we should also thank the leaders and lineages of yoga that came before. So thank you so much.